This morning, I was awakened by the glorious sunshine coming through my window. I became aware of how grateful I am for my life at this point, because honestly, the last 4 years have been rather rough. I've gone through some extremely challenging ordeals, tremendous loss and grief, failed relationships, financial difficulties, and some legal ordeals, all while attempting to recreate a new life in the Ozarks. As I thought about the changes I've been through, as well as how much better things have become since starting my mountain retreat 3 years ago, it seemed the right time to make a trip to Pinnacle Mountain State Park, something I've wanted to do for a long time. Just west of Little Rock, Arkansas stands Pinnacle Mountain. It is the centerpiece of a geographically diverse state park. It offers 22 miles of hiking trails and 14 miles of challenging mountain bike trails. It is a wonderful place to hike, explore the rivers, enjoy a picnic, or just spend some quiet time in meditation or prayer. Now, most people believe it is only a mountain or a volcano, but I actually feel it is an ancient Atlantean pyramid situated on a powerful crystalline grid structure. The pyramid has 4 distinct straight sides, which are clearly visible from a distance. And even though the mountain is covered with trees and signs of erosion, it stands among the surrounding rounded hills, quite distinct in shape and energy. I've traveled there 3 times before and only made it halfway up the summit trail. But this time, I was determined to push myself and make it all the way to the top. I felt prepared for the hike, but most of all, I wanted to bring my crystal skull with me so she could be activated by the remarkable energies of the mountain. Since I was a bit concerned about backpacking her up the steep trail, I made sure to insulate the crystal by wrapping her in one of my thick coats. That way, I could safely haul her to the top of the mountain without any problems. Now, along the drive, I kept asking my Paynovan guides to offer some clarity about what it is to do once I get there. But the feeling I received was not to worry, because I would know what was needed to be done when the time was right. After that, I decided to relax and just enjoy the drive. So I ended up stopping at a rustic coffee shop in Conway before going on to Little Rock. For me, it's a 100-mile journey from my cottage. I finally caught a fabulous glimpse of the mountain while crossing the Arkansas River. So I pulled over to the side of the road on the bridge to capture this film. It certainly looks like a pyramid to me. In fact, Lee Carroll, who channels Cryon, has said it is definitely an ancient Atlantean power center, going back thousands and thousands of years. So that's another reason why I wanted to make this journey today and allow myself to feel the energy directly for myself and to make it available, the earth energy knowledge, so it could activate the smoky quartz crystal skull. As you probably know from watching my previous videos, I acquired Devi, a Brazilian crystal skull, as a tool to assist me in my healing, de-armoring bodywork. I was guided to do this by higher density beings who I refer to as the Painovans. So for more information on that topic, you can watch my video entitled Painovan and the Crystal Skull. I was happy to make it to the state park at last. It is a place that is located on specific energy ley lines. There's a powerful vitality here, and I could feel the rumbling frequency resonating throughout my entire body. Beginning to hike up the trail was rather easy at first. There are a lot of stones placed like steps leading along the trail. It is a slow, but a fun, steady climb. It wasn't long before I realized the weather was a bit warmer than I thought it would be, so I had to remove my sweater. I noticed several people hiking along the trail. Most of them were very kind, and I enjoyed a few friendly chats, mostly with those who were coming back down the trail from the summit. A year ago, I had attempted to make the climb. I went with a local woman friend, and once we got about halfway, we realized it was a bit too arduous, so we stopped. I figured this time I would make it to the halfway point, find a place to rest before going on. At one point, I caught the most magical view of the nearby lake, and I just stood in the wind and absorbed the angel of air and sun while drawing in the incredible healing energy of the rocky pyramid. I found that during my climb, as it became more difficult to maintain an even pace, I found myself really out of breath. This surprised me, despite all the hiking that I do. Climbing rocks is an entirely different experience. But no matter, I simply took all the time I needed to stop and rest, catch my breath before continuing on. Along the way, I found myself turning more and more inward the higher I climbed, not really thinking about anything in particular, but just getting a sense that there was going to be a gift for me once I make it to the top. At last, I reached the last marker, and the final stretch was very steep, with lots of boulders to climb over. The trail turned steep and challenging, to say the least. The summit was unbelievable, more than I expected. Instead of being on a level plateau, what I found was an uneven, rocky ledge. There were a couple of other people there too. After saying some friendly hellos, we pretty much kept to ourselves. I think we all wanted to be quiet and still and just take in the fabulous view of the landscape below. I enjoyed watching a few vultures soaring gracefully in the wind. At this point, I removed the crystal skull from my backpack and found a suitable rock to place her directly in the sun. My intentional prayer was for the mountain to transfer its ancient wisdom and healing energy into her, so she could absorb it more directly. I allowed the process to happen and sat nearby in silence, breathing in the sacred sights all around me. Now, I must admit, everything was awesome, except for one thing. Some young guy brought a drone with him and decided to steer it around overhead. Truthfully, I found the whining sound a bit annoying. To me, it sounded like a giant mosquito, and I just wanted to swat it. He kept flying it back and forth overhead, which caused the vultures to circle around it. I guess the guy enjoyed spying on those of us up there, because at one point, he flew the dang thing directly over me. While it was filming me, I was filming it. Thankfully, however, he took his pesky toy drone and went away, and I was able to spend a few delightful minutes in peace. So what gift did I receive on this adventure? It was more of an inward knowing that I received, realizing that my life is aligned perfectly, just the way it is. For 4 years, I've been attempting to heal and recover emotionally since the death of my beloved wife and all the hurtful, malevolent things that happened afterward. And the reason I began my mountain retreat in 2020 was because of the time of lockdown madness. When that began, the world felt like it was going into free fall, like end-time madness, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I relocated into the woods and built a cottage and worked on a solitary life of contemplative prayer. So the Ozarks became a kind of sacred refuge, away from the city, away from the false values that I saw happening all around me. Now that I've discovered a new footing, just like what it took to climb this mountain pyramid, each step requires mindful attention and cautious care. One must ascend from plateau to plateau and take the necessary time to rest along the way. I think the same thing is true in relationships with other people. It requires an attitude of gratitude and care for the suffering of others. To be in service and truly helpful. That's all that really matters in this life. We must learn to meet our own needs. In this way, we can remain sovereign, independent, empowered, and free. But sometimes we need to ask for help. The journey we are on is a journey without distance to a goal that has never changed. And the goal? We reach ever upward toward the source of life and endeavor to merge into the great cosmic ocean of thought. That's what I reconnected with on this hike today. Thank you for taking this journey with me. And peace be with you.